sis, welcome back to my channel. I thank you for tuning in. To my returning subscribers, I love you. To the new members, I love you as well. My name is Mola and I'm a fashion designer. So today I'm going to be teaching you how to draft and cut a basic pencil skirt, and the measurements we'll be needing for this project is the waist measurement, the hip length measurement, the hip measurements, the knee length, the full length, the knee round measurement. And the waist is 26, the hip length is 10, the hip is 38, the knee length is 24, the full length is 24 as well, because the full length is going to serve as our knee length. So the to get your knee round is going to be your hip minus 6, so that is 32. That's a mistake on my side, it's supposed to be 32. So let's get right into this video. And the first thing we do, as you all know, is to mark half an inch on our pattern paper or your fabric. That is going to serve as our waistline or our beginning line. So you indicate it as your waistline measurement. Then the next thing is to mark your length measurement. That's the hip length and then the full length plus 2 inches, because our skirt is going to get to our knee, so we don't need to mark any knee measurement. So what we just marked there is the hip length and the full length plus 2 inches. So the next thing to do is to mark your round measurement on your length line. So our waist is 26, so 26 divided by 4 is 6.5. So you're going to mark 6.5 on your waistline. 6.5 plus 1 inch sewing allowance and 1 inch dart. That's 2 inches I marked right there. Then on your hip length, you're going to mark our hip round measurements on our hip length, and our hip is 38. So 38 divided by 4 is 9.5. You mark it there, 9.5 plus 2 inches sewing allowance. And the next thing now is to mark our knee round measurement on that full length measurement. So our knee round is 32. So 32 divided by 4 is going to give us 8. So 8, you mark 8 on that line plus 2 inches sewing allowance. So that is that. Then you connect your dots together. So in this case, this is a straight skirt, but if you want a pencil skirt, a more pencil skirt, so from that line you go in by 1 inch or 2 inches, however pencil you want your skirt to be. So you can go in by 1 inch, you can go in by 2 inches, however you want it to be. So that is how to draft a pencil skirt and a normal straight skirt. Then the next thing to do is to mark our curve, our hip curve. Then to do that, you're going to take your French curve to get your hip curve. So that is our hip curve right there. Then on that waist, whatever you have there, you divide it by 2. So I have 8.5 there. So divided by 2, I have 4.2. So you mark 4.2. Then the length that for the front pattern is 5 inches. Then on the side you go in by half an inch on both sides, and then you connect your dots together. That is how you get your perfect dart. Then on the waist line you go down by 1 inch. So we are trying to get our waist curve, and the reason for that is because by the time you wear, so when you wear your skirt won't fold in front. That is why we are having a curve there. So because that curve has taken about 1 inch away from our dart, I decided to go down by 1 inch to have a complete 5 inches. So that is that. Then the next thing to do is to cut our back pattern. And to cut, before cutting our back pattern, you have to mark your zipper allowance, and the zipper allowance we're working with is 1 inch. You can do 2 inches if you want, but 1 inch is okay for me. So after marking your 1 inch, you connect your dots together. Then you place your front pattern on that 1 inch that you have marked. Then you make sure you mark all your dots before removing the front pattern. That is your hip length dots, your full length dots, your darts, and everything, every dot you have on that front pattern. Make sure you mark it on the back pattern before removing or cutting out the front pattern. So that is what I have indicated there. So I'm cutting out the back pattern now. And another thing I want you to notice, don't cut out that curve from the front pattern before cutting the back. Make sure you cut your back pattern before cutting out that curve. So now that I've indicated all my dots, I can now go over to my slit. Then the that for the back pattern is 6 inches long. Then you mark ½ inch on both sides. So that is the hip length dot I'm trying to mark there. Then from that hip length, you go down by 6 inches to get our slit. So from that 6 inches downwards is our slit. So because I like my slit very long, I like to go down by 6 inches. If you don't want your slit to be too long, you can go down by 7 or 8 or 9 inches, however you want it. So now that I've drafted the back pattern, I can now cut out the curve from the front skirt. So the next thing to do now is to get our waistband for the skirt. And the waistband is our waist measurement plus 6 inches. So our waist is 26 plus 6 inches, that is 32 inches. So for the waist length, the band length for the skirt is 32 inches. And the reason for that is because if you cut exactly 26 inches, by the time you attach it to the skirt, it's going to be shorter. So there's a possibility that it's going to be shorter than the skirt waist. So I try as much as possible to add extra inches to my waist measurement. So I will have, by the time I am done joining, the remaining excess left, I can now cut it out. Then the width for the skirt, for the band rather, is 5 inches because I want to have a 2 inches band. You can do 3 inches band if you want, but 2 inches is okay for me. So I like to cut 5 inches width. So by the time you fold it together, you have 2.5 inches. And then by the time you attach it to the skirt and sew by ½ inch, you're going to have 2 inches band. So that is that about how to draft your basic pencil skirt. So today I'm going to be teaching you how to cut your pencil skirt, your basic pencil skirt. So it's very easy and simple to do. So the first thing we'll be doing, as you all know, is to pin our pattern paper to our fabric so it doesn't move around when we are cutting. And remember, this is on a fold. This is the front pattern of the skirt and it's a single pattern paper. So when you're cutting, you have to fold your fabric into two. So this edge is on a fold and this is the open edge of the fabric. So this is the hip area. So the hip area go towards the open edge, while the center front of the fabric, of the pattern, sorry, comes to the folded edge of the fabric. Now that we're done pinning our pattern paper to our fabric, the next thing to do now is to cut. Then on the length, you cut the exact length you have. On the hip area, you measure ½ inch round straight. Then you cut from the ½ inch. As you can see. Then on the waist area, you cut the exact measurement you have there. Then this is our dart. All you need to do is to fold your fabric and your pattern paper to this line in the middle. This line we have in the middle, fold it and notch. That's all. So this is going to help us know where our dart is going to be. So remember, the length of the dart for the front skirt is 5 inches, and for the back is 6 inches. So this is all about the front pattern. Okay, so this is our back pattern of the skirt. As you can see that I have folded my fabric and I have pinned my pattern paper to the fabric. So let's move over to cutting it. If you've seen the video up to this point, kindly like, share and subscribe. Thank you. So you leave half an inch, you measure half an inch on the side. Then on the waist, you cut exactly what you have on the waist. Then the next thing to do now, you remember that our fabric is on a fold and this is a zipper allowance side. So you're going to slit this place open, meaning you're now going to have 2 back pieces. So we are going to open this to be able to face our zip. Okay, so now that we're done with that, now see we have 2 back pieces. Then come over to your dart, you fold to the center line and then you notch. See, so this will enable us to know where our dart is going to be. So the back length, the measurement for the back dart is 6 inches and the one for the front is 5 inches. So this is all about our basic pattern for the skirt. So with this pattern now, you can now be creative. You can create any design you want from this basic skirt. So now see, this is the front and this is the back. That's all. So now let's just move over to the sewing machine and I will show you how to sew your basic pencil skirts. Okay, besties, so that is how to cut and craft your basic pencil skirts. If you have any question, kindly drop your questions in the comment section, then I will try as much as possible to reply to every of your questions. Thank you.